Now, people, as much as I did a video about our three debutants playing in official Arsenal colours in Timber, Havertz and obviously I forgot his name now, Declan Rice, I think the MLS All-Stars game showed a glimpse. You can't read too much into pre-season, but it showed a glimpse into, you know, how Mikel Arteta is further developing his build-up play. And I think Martin Odegaard put on a clinic, as you can see here, dropping deep defence, or better yet, midfield, splitting passes. He just found Kai Havertz there and then found Kiwior. And you did see with Timber, with Declan Rice, with Havertz, with Odegaard, and anyone I've missed out, just the building blocks that we put in place last season and how we're going to take it to the next level according to who is on the pitch at any given time, and ultimately makes us a lot more unpredictable. What a pass that was from Odegaard. The man put on a clinic. That was a pass, really. You know, you have to give credit where due, and he put in a fantastic through ball for Martinelli to score. And I mean, he's our captain. I do think long-term Odegaard will still be an 8. As you can see, he's in that right-hand channel. That will be his. And you'd imagine Kai Havertz will be on the other side, doing the same thing. We can play two physical players in Partey and Rice. You know, according to the game, Rice or Partey could be at the base in the 6, and you have rotating 8s of Odegaard and Havertz, and you could extend that to Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, and all the other players, really. And he's such a player, man. He's such a player. He's such a player, really. I just hope he can get 15 league goals next season again, chip in some more goals and assists, but ultimately just keep doing what you need to do. And as much as we've spent a lot of money, and Premier League clubs have a lot of money, you know, and the club for years, excluding Arteta now, you know, and we're making the right decisions now, we've spent a lot of money and it's been silly, and you do have to spend money to get to the next level. But Odegaard cost 30 odd million quid. Saka was for free. Martinelli, 6 or so million pounds. You know, Saliba, 27, 28, 30 million. You know, we have made a couple of good decisions and we're reaping the benefits. Again, what a pass that was from Odegaard. I think Odegaard's probably the signing of the last couple of years, really. What a ball that was from Martinelli. And we hope to see that in the Premier League. We really do. Big up Tomiyasu for being back fit. I think him and Saliba actually being fit for day one of the pre-season campaign is a massive benefit for Arsenal. You know, nice to see Saliba is over his back issue. Hopefully there's no reoccurrence of that. And Tomiyasu is a great player to have for the squad, can play across the back three. But it's all about Odegaard for this clip, man. Again, probably not just because he set himself high standards. I think Odegaard could probably play a crisper pass for Balogun. What a great run that is from Balogun. We're going to get onto Balogun in just a second, folks. But we have to give our class Norwegian, the best Norwegian in the Premier League, Ireland's all right, a lot of credit. On another day, he probably shoots first time. Obviously, his left foot's so good, we don't need to worry about his right foot. It's scary, you know, that Odegaard is still ain't reached the levels he could reach. Like, he's a very good player, but he's just getting started, and he's a player that it's nice to see he got goals, but he's a player that I feel a bit like Ozil. You know, he's not going to get mad goals, mad assists, fly into tackles. So I do think some fans can miss him, and what a goal that would have been. But that was a glimpse with Odegaard, Havertz and Declan Rice all combining to great effect, people, essentially. And it was wavy, and you have to give credit to Trossard as well. I don't really buy Trossard playing in the 8 row. He can play as a 10, but shameless settings. It's about, you know, we got to shed some light on Trossard, who is a great player to have in the squad, and in his own right can compete with a fit Smith Rowe in the left channel, can compete with Martinelli and co. Bit of a shame that goal didn't stand, really. I just think Trossard is better when, you know, he's in the final third. He can look up, like you see with that, he can make quick decisions. I don't think, you know, he does always scan because he's an attacking player, but he's not always scanning in the middle of the park. And if you remember, was it against Brighton last season, his pocket was picked. So I don't buy him playing in the 8, but if Arteta can groom him into that, why not? But he's a great player to have, man, and a great player to have with the squad. And with Trossard, there's a sense of urgency because he's in his late 20s, really. This project, he can't wait for this project to really go bang. Time's on his side, but also not on his side. And it was unfortunate that, as you saw there, he picked up a little knock. We hope there's, you know, he had issues in the Nuremberg game. He had issues against MLS All-Stars. We hope he's all right. He's unlucky with that free kick. But again, such a lovely player. And it's nice. I'm happy that we bought him and Declan Rice because they've spoiled our days when they played for their previous employers, buying a lot of Premier League proven players. I think Balogun gave a good account of himself. And I think why I say that is because obviously he scored 20 odd goals last season for Reims. And you need to score goals. You know, we got 80 odd goals last season. If we could find 20 more, then we're getting closer to City and getting around the 100 mark. But it's also what you do in other areas. And you've seen Eddie and Nketiah's more general players improved. And I think against MLS All-Stars, Balogun worked his socks off. I can't remember the goal, but he was involved in the early build-up play for one of the goals. He put in a shift defensively. He offered himself out wide. He held up play. I think that's a glimpse. And we've got to remember, even though Balogun's had a great year, I don't think he's at the level quite yet that some fans suggest. And he's still developing. He's still a 22-year-old striker, really. Now, because of where we're at as a football club and us needing to want to win trophies, we might not have time to let everyone develop. But Balogun should return to the Emirates, has returned to the Emirates, more confident in his abilities of breaking into the first team, a more all-rounded player, but he's not all the way there yet. Not a single player, bar the, previously Xhaka, Partey, or Nene, them kind of guys. Jorginho are the finished articles. Declan Rice isn't, Odegaard isn't, Timber isn't, Saliba isn't, Gabriel isn't, Ramsdale isn't, Benjamin White isn't, Saka isn't, Martinelli isn't, Smith Rowe isn't. They're all kind of got a good foundation. Havertz isn't. They've got a good foundation, but they're not there yet. Like I said, this is the dirty work. This is what Lacazette used to do. This is what Jesus does. This is what Eddie start to bring into his game. And this is how Balogun, on top of obviously scoring goals, is how he can get to the next level, people. And in an Arteta system, I don't want to say goals are never important because they win games. And I think strikers have to score goals. That was the premise of bringing Jesus. But in an Arteta system, you don't just stand and occupy the centre backs. You've got to work. You've almost got to be selfless. A bit unfortunate there. But as I said, I think he had a really encouraging game. Definitely a lot better than the Nuremberg game. And I'm not talking about the lack of finishing in that game. Bit unlucky there, he's going against a man mountain of a centre-half. But I think he was really proactive. As you can see, little things like that, just winning the ball. Balogun gave a great account of himself, really, and hope it continues. If we sell him, we need to get top money. Now, Kevin Betsy previously spoke on a platform and spoke about Balogun, and it kind of echoes what I and a lot of people think about Balogun. He said Albert, Stevenberg and Mikel would do a lot of his game reviews. They were very clear in terms of what his development plan was. Flo, as in Florian Balogun, needed to improve his hold up and link up because he was very good at running into space and finishing, as you've seen. The other thing was they wanted to improve was his reactions to start pressing. As you know, as you get older and start to establish yourself as a Premier League player or a top level player, it's about being less reactive and being proactive and calculated in the actions you're doing. Sometimes, things that are not necessarily to write home about. If Balogun scored 2-3 goals in the MLS game, we all know the headlines and what would be written. But it's these sort of things that the coaching staff reckon you need to add to your game, because if Martinelli and Trossard play up front, they've got a bit more of that. Eddie, in terms of the other facets, not necessarily goals, because Balogun's got a stronger catalogue. He scored 20 odd last season. He does that. Jesus does that in abundance. This is what you need to add to your game to just simply be an all-rounded individual, whether you're going to be at Arsenal or Inter Milan or any team that you're linked with, because his future still remains unclear in an Arsenal shirt, people. So it is very interesting in that regards as to what's going to happen, people. As you can see here, Mikel Arteta spoke on, this ain't Mikel Arteta. Balogun, I'll leave that for you. I won't bore you lot and read it out. But Balogun left that in relation to playing in America and things of that ilk. Now, I do think one player that I'm taking a shine to is Kiwior. I think he had a tough baptism of fire signing for Arsenal in January. And I think he's getting better and better and better. You can see why, the benefits of him spending a season more or less at Spezia in Italy as a centre defensive mid. He's obviously a centre back by trade, and he can play left back historically, but he can show he's an inverted man, and I don't real, but keep him on his toes. And it's about being, having a good and strong squad. And I am liking his performances so far in pre-season as much as you can read into it. I do think he had a tough start to his time at Arsenal, but I do think individually he finished the season strong, and definitely where MLS All-Stars and Nuremberg are concerned, that's where I've taken a shine to him. I think he's done really well. He's come a long way from the mishap against Sporting. He came on against Liverpool and did an absolute madness. And you can see why he was brought to the club. You should have a passing range if Mikel Arteta wants a modern day centre-back, / left back. And, again, if we were to say and he obviously played right-sided centre-back towards the end of the season, obviously if we just were to assume Gabriel and Saliba will forever be the first choice pairing, then potentially playing left-back is how you get minutes. And in the last 2 pre-season games, hopefully we get to see it against Man United, Barca and Monaco. I think he's done quite well in that inverted role. Very good centre-back, man. Still waiting a bit more and more. He's not that he's shy, but you can still see, he's still adapting. He's still probably a bit overawed with playing for Arsenal. I think there's a lot more personality to come from him. I do think he's going to become a lot more aggressive as well. He's a decent player. Obviously, not all of these clips at hand are, pre-season, but you get the point. That was an important knock against now his teammate Havertz. He did very well in the Newcastle game. Him, Jorginho, I was a bit nervous in that game, but he did quite well. And as you can see, here he is for Poland, and it just needs to become a bit more cleaner, you know, brush up on the rough edges, much like half of the players in our team. And I think we're laughing, if I'm honest with you, man. I think Kiwior, I'm really liking you. I won't quite say underdog of the season because I'm not sure. But, you know, if I had to find potential underdogs or had to bet on Arsenal underdog of the season to over-impress or excel Arsenal fans' expectations, I'm always going to say Smith Rowe, because if he's fit, he's a problem. I hope Tomiyasu can stay fit. But maybe Kiwior, if and when he gets a game, really and truly. And again, the physicality, he's got height, he's quick. I like him a lot, man. 20 million well spent. I think every game I'm taking a bit more of a shine to him. Again, you can't read too much into pre-season, but you can kind of look at building blocks, essentially. There's still a lot to improve, because although I think he played well against MLS All-Stars, there was an action in that game where he gave the ball away cheaply and then did the same thing again. So there's always something to work on. And here is showing personality, not panicking, fortunate to win a foul there, essentially, people. So I can't really blame him. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Kiwior. Really liking what I'm seeing from Kiwior, if I'm completely honest with you. And again, against MLS All-Stars, he was doing his thing really in that inverted role. I like the fact that he tries to play the difficult pass. He sees it, he does it. It sounds dumb, but a lot of Premier League footballers see it, get a bit timid and a bit scared and a bit nervous, and don't play the pass, really. And again, for him selfishly, you know, well, for Arteta, you've got more options to flirt with in the left back row, as we've seen. For him, you could simply buy more games, because you should put pressure on Gabriel and Saliba and force Arteta to play you as a centre-half. But if he says, you know what, Zinchenko's not been in the best of form, Kiwior's there, as you can see in the inverted row again. This is how you buy yourself games. It's a long season. At this moment in time, we're in the League Cup, we're in the Champions League, we're in the Premier League, we're in the FA Cup. Injuries, suspensions, loss of form, changing team dynamics can happen at any stage, really. I like him a lot. Like most left-footed players, you know, at our club, Odegaard, Saka, and Kiwior, you know, they ain't really got a right foot, a bit like Pepe as well. I'm not giving up on Tierney. I think Tierney showed, you know, especially when Timber came on, that there could be a new lease of life. I wonder if Tierney stays at the team, because you've seen Kiwior, Tomiyasu, and obviously Zinchenko elected ahead of you. You was a man that was once described as a captain with Mikel Arteta and signed a new deal. I hope he stays, but I wouldn't begrudge him if he doesn't. You kind of seen him played indirectly, that left kind of centre-back channel-y kind of thing in this game against MLS All-Stars. I'm a big fan of Tierney. You know, I like the fact that he's shown adaptability to play the inverted role, but it does feel a bit of asking a fish to climb a tree. It's not his skill set, but if Arteta demands that, you've got to do what the gaffer wants, really. So in conclusion, I think, you know, Odegaard had a good game. Odegaard put on a clinic. Trossard had a good game. Tierney encouraging cameo to go with all the new signings. I think Kiwior in the 2 pre-season games available to Arsenal fans against Nuremberg and against MLS All-Stars, you impressed me. Big up the Flying Scotsman and Timber as well. And it's all about just giving us more layers in the team, really. So that's all I would say, essentially. You lot don't forget to smash the like button, comment, subscribe, and check out the other vids.